Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wilde, and we're off adventuring into the spaces between. And it's a 3 cent Thursday. So, if you guys are having just a fantastic day, um, this is just a really quick video because you know what? Life is an adventure, and I don't have a lot of time today. Because you know what? Life is just kind of marching on and screaming by. And here it is, the almost the Ides of August, and wow, I have things to do and not a lot of time to do it. So yeah, I've got projects galore, and I'm trying to figure out what kind of a platform I want to do on Thursdays. I like Theology Thursday because you know what, there's a chance for me to really get into the wild way and talk about it. And if you have questions, by all means, send me an email at wildpaisley@gmail.com. And I want to touch base there. Yep. Um, because yes, we can do that. Otherwise, um, you can connect with me, YouTube, Rumble, etc., 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 X, that kind of thing. And so yeah, just doing the things. So did I say Ides of August? Yes, it really is almost the Ides of August, or the middle of the month. And just a lot going on here locally. We have Fair Week coming up, which many me has fair stuff. I have projects to finish. School starts next month for many folks around the U.S. School has already started, which is insane. And then with school starting, that means fall is here. And then with the fall, harvest, and suddenly it's winter is coming. And with winter, there's all sorts of things to do and things. And oh my goodness, my to-do list is not getting any shorter. So I don't know if it's going to be a Theology Thursday or a 3 cent Thursday. I don't know. We'll see. But I want to have at least one day where I have a quick video, and then another day during the week where I can really dive into a bigger, heavier topics, if that makes sense. Now, for those of you who watched me previously and stayed in touch with me previously, the 3 cent videos were just kind of a quick 15-minute-ish video where I kind of touched on current events or something that hit me just kind of like, rawr, and I just had to vent about it. That sort of stuff. And so today is a 3 cent video because I was strolling through the Pinterest as I was looking at print files. So I have 3D printers, and I was looking at print files for a gift for a friend, and also getting some stuff printed up for an event later this year. And I had some rune clusters pop up that make really good tattoos, and some of them come with interpretations, some don't. It says like, I find order in chaos, knowledge flourishes within, I find order in the chaos, I will achieve my dreams, I am open to draconic magic. That one actually kind of looks like a dragon, which is kind of cool. I will live a life of love. Now this grimoire is protected. I am divine. I am protected from negative vibes. These are kind of swirly and fun. Strength before weakness, life before death, journey before destination. And some of them are quite swirly and loopy. Some are more straight on and just more angular, scripted. And some of the commentary is, hey, these are beautiful. What do they mean? Some are like, they mean nothing. They're just pretty. And so this is absolutely one of those 3 cent videos. And by golly, I hate gatekeeping. You know this. I've mentioned it before. Gatekeepers are annoying. And so when it comes to bind runes, that's basically what it comes. This is what this is, bind runes. There are a couple of different schools of thought on how to create a bind rune of some sort. And A lot of them have to do with how you write out the letters, how you draw the lines, and do you make them from elder Futhark? Do you make them from younger Futhark? Kind of depends on your tradition, kids. Do you use like symbology from Egyptian cuneiform or pictoglyphs, or what do you use? And a lot of it, it's up to you. Seriously, it is up to you. Because a lot of the magical traditions and pagan traditions or religious traditions of the ancient gods have not been passed down with instruction manuals. They were word of mouth, right? And so they didn't come with a lot of, this is how we write our letters, like we learn in kindergarten, with the lines, and you script it out like this, and you do this, and and you draw this line this way and this line this way with these dots here for emphasis, or this tilde here, or underline, or, oh, don't forget your calligraphy, those kinds of things. No, we didn't get that. A lot of it came as word of mouth and hands-on practice. Some of it was just straight up etched into metal or wood or stone or bone. And what was a fine line once upon a time, especially if it was in stone and then left out in the weather for millennia, is no longer a fine line. Now it's a broad line. And depending on how it was worn by the weather, it's changed. So does it look the same as it did when it was first created? Nah, no. But the only thing that hasn't changed much over the eons is the stuff that is in the Egyptian tombs that hasn't been touched. Those lines are still pretty straight on and accurate from when they were created. Those look pretty fantastic. But even then, those don't necessarily come with a handbook on how to read them. The Rosetta Stone is fantastic, yes, but not all of it makes a lot of sense, right? So, at least not to the layperson. If you're a specialist and you understand it all, and that is your journey in life, and your goal and your understanding is how to read ancient Egyptian, fantastic. Ancient Sumerian, fantastic. Any of the ancient languages, fantastic. Ancient Greek, fantastic. Awesome. More power to you. Most of us, it's no idea, We don't know. And that's okay. We don't have to know. So what does that mean for us today? Well, a lot of us are just kind of making it up as we go along. Or we were taught within our specific traditions, or those that are following an individual path and they don't have a coven, or they didn't have a teacher that was specific to them, or they learned out of a book. Because, hey, guess what? A lot of people do learn from books. They're figuring it out. And they're doing what is right to them instinctively or intuitively. And that absolutely works. So when you see someone making bind runes, often that is what works for them, or what that means to them. Now, there are some things, like within the Elder Futhark, and that are historical representations of bind runes that have specific set meanings. Those are pretty straightforward. You can't just flex on those and say, oh, well, that is a beautiful unicorn. No, that is not a rainbow unicorn poppy. That is something else entirely. So you can't take Vegvisar's shield or Odin's spear and say it is something else entirely. You just can't. Those are what they are created to be. So what nowadays, we create something else entirely, and you have to go with what is right for you intuitively. And shame on others who go and get in the way and gatekeep you and say, oh, that doesn't mean anything. That's like saying the lock on your door doesn't mean anything, and it's okay for someone just to break in. No, it's not. Or, hey, I cut myself last night on the food dehydrator. because I was getting some strawberries out.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
You too.
And since I cut myself on the food dehydrator, I did really. I've got a Band-Aid. See, Band-Aid. And I was bleeding, and it was obnoxious, right? And since I was leaking and I didn't want to bleed all over everything, put a Band-Aid on. And because this is not the original Band-Aid, the original Band-Aid was orange, and this is a tan one. I actually like the orange one better, but I've washed my hands since then. And once you wash your hands, you kind of need to change your Band-Aids and stuff. I've showered even, So once you do some of that stuff, you got to change your bandages. They get wet, you got to change them. It's just the way of it. So since I did that new Band-Aid, that doesn't mean this Band-Aid is worth less than the original orange one. It just means it's different. And it's just as effective. It's just different. It's even placed differently. And guess what? I put this one on. Mini-Me put the first one on. But that doesn't mean this one's less. It just means it's different. They have the same value. They're doing the same thing. They're keeping the dirt out, keeping me from bumping it into something else, because that's what I do. I'm really good at that. So, but what I'm saying is that just because someone is using runic work differently than you are doesn't mean that they're doing it wrong. It just means they're doing it differently. And their basis for their runes may be different than what you are using. You might be using Elder Futhark. They might be using Younger Futhark. Or they might be using Egyptian pictoglyphs. They might be using ancient Egyptian. Or ancient Greek. They might be using Cyrillic. They might be using German. They might be using Old English. There's so many different languages out there. Just because you don't recognize or don't identify with the way a certain set of runes are set up does not take away the value of them. It is just the building of the door or the setting of the bandage. It doesn't take away from the value of the way it is. So, anyways, I just want to stand on my soapbox and yell just a little bit and go, "Rawr," because just because someone does something differently than you do when it comes to magic or to religion or to spirituality or to even politics, kids, I'm sorry, but that's the way of it. But to any of that, just because their handwriting is a little differently than yours doesn't give it less value. So take a deep cleansing breath when you see something that is different than yours. Let me see if I can find 2 sets of runic work here that is just different. No, I'm not going to find it real quick because I'm not. I was going to show you a picture, but nope. Not going to find it that fast. I didn't have something to pop up, so there. But, just take a deep cleansing breath. If you see something that is different than what you would do, and you just want to pick it apart and tear it apart and make it take a deep cleansing breath. Is it hurting you? Yes or no? Is it making you want to leave it alone? Well, guess what, kids? Maybe it's doing its job. Maybe you're supposed to leave it alone. Maybe you're not supposed to bother it. Maybe you're supposed to move on and do something else because that is the purpose of that rune work. Maybe that's the thing. So stop and think about that. Maybe you're not supposed to be doing whatever it is that you're doing, and so you're set off by the rune that you're looking at. And that's why you're upset. So, deep cleansing breath, kids. And if you need to, do another one. Drink your water. get a nap, eat your food, do the things. This is Paisley Wilde. This is the spaces between. And guess what? This was a 3-cent video. So let the rune work be the rune work. And maybe the message was for you, and that's why you want to pick it apart. Serious. Thanks for stopping by, and have a good day. See if I can remember how to do this now, because I did something different. I was practicing. I don't know if it worked or not. Nope. See if it does it again.